watching SKST Radio.
I was a little slow on that one. Well. Welcome to SKST Radio. You're talking to Real Talk with Kami Grayson, one-on-one entertainment with my new friend, Mr. Wes Miller. Woo!
Hey,
Mr.
thank you for
Miller,
having me,
thank
Cammy.
you. I'm so excited to have you on the show. Oh my
Awesome.
gosh, you are like my hero right now. So,
Oh,
and I'll explain to you why. But yeah,
okay.
you're like my hero right now. So let's start with you. How'd you get started? Where'd you come from? Give us your world.
So I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. Um, then went to school in a school called Lambeth University outside of Memphis. Then I went to law school in Kansas, practiced law for a while. And then about 2015, made the switch from law to film and have been a full-time filmmaker, director, writer, producer since then.
Oh, wow. Wow. Tell us about some of the works that you have that we should be familiar with.
So my first film was a film called Prayer Never Fails with Lynn Whitfield was in it with Corbin Burnson. That was my first one. Then the second one I did was Atone. It was a faith-based action film. Then I did River Runs Red with Tay Diggs and George Lopez. And then I did Hell on the Border with David Jesse and Ron Perlman and Frank Grillo. And then leads me into this one, A Day to Die, with Bruce Willis, Frank Grillo, Leon, Kevin Dillon, Vernon Davis, Curtis Nichols, Brooke Butler, and Muhammad, like a gang of like great actors. So,
Right.
um, so
So,
yeah,
wow. I mean, so this is so exciting. Okay, so let me tell you why you're my hero.
yes, please.
Okay, you're my hero because you are an African American man doing it in Hollywood when we know the doors are not open for you guys there.
Hmm.
And so that's why you're my hero. Keep
Oh,
going, hero.
no, well, I appreciate it, and it's true. It's not a lot of African American directors, and it's even less doing like action films, which is unfortunate still to this day. And I think it's not. I'm not going to call it a responsibility, but I do. It is always there in ensuring that a piece of me always makes it into the material. So because growing up single parent home, Memphis, was kind of rough at times. So I learned a lot of lessons that I think prepared me for life that I also think translates into my work. But yeah, it's a sad state, and hopefully we can continue to change it. One movie at a time, one person at a time, each one reach one, and yeah, it's important to me.
Yeah, I bet it is. It's important to me as well.
Mm.
And so, man, I mean, I'm here to support you, whatever we can do on our end, to get you out there even more, because I'm
Yeah.
like, you go,
Oh,
keep
thank
going,
you.
don't stop.
Oh.
So going back to your career, you went from law
Mm.
to film. How did that
Film.
happen?
So I around 2011 or 2010 or so, I had a feeling, I just kind of knew in my heart that the law wasn't going to be my final stop. I really wasn't happy, spiritually unhappy, um, and professionally unhappy. And
Mhm.
so I knew that that wasn't going to be it, but I didn't know what was next. So what I ended up doing was, around this time, the technology started changing a little bit, and they came out with these cameras that we call DSLRs. And so I got me a Canon T3i, and at that point I was able to like make these cinematic images, and I was like, oh wow, I can kind of do it. And so film has always been part of my life, in some shape, form, or fashion. From when I was a kid, I would have like it's a Pixel 2000 as a camcorder. We would make home films on these little
Mhm.
audio cassettes that recorded video. And even in law school, and I would like literally watch like the Rainmaker and the Verdict and the TV show The Practice like on repeat, just for extra motivation. And then even with my law practice, it was decorated with legal movie posters. That was it. And we'd, nothing else. We'd have our TV there. We'd have our movies playing. So film has always been an integral part of my life. Um, but through a couple of decisions, I wound up going to law school, and I still love the law. I mean, it's so intriguing to me. Um, but I again around that time, around 2011-ish, 12-ish, I was like, oh man, I can actually make images. I shot a couple of little short films just to kind of see, how it goes. And then I wrote my first feature length screenplay. I put it on a website called Simply Scripts, and a producer found it, brought me out to California, made the film. It was small, it wasn't huge, it was just
Mhm.
small. Um, but it got my feet wet being on set. And then I was like, oh, I really enjoy this. Then I also learned, though, in the course of that process, if you want to protect your material and want the story that you really have in mind to come out, you really have to direct it yourself as well. So then, yeah, and then also on that trip, one of another producer there used to represent a writer named Tony Gilroy, and he mentioned to me, it's like, hey man, it's a really good script. I know it's your first, but like keep going. Your writing style reminds me of Tony Gilroy. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh wow, because that's big, because he did like Michael Clayton like, man, so many movies, um, that, and like the Bourne movies. Like he's just an amazing writer. So they kind of gave me that little that little push.
Right.
And then so, I just took a little, still took about a couple of years to kind of really think about it. And then around 2015, I was like, no, man, you live once. You got
Right.
talent, but you're not going to grow. You can't practice law and work on your craft. They won't work together. You just can't do it. Like they both demand too much from you. And so summer of 2015, sold the practice and went into the wilderness, so to speak. And I won't even tell you what my mom said, but she wasn't happy. But then, yeah, and then that was it. And then just kind of dedicated. And ever since then, just every day, just working, grinding, learning the craft, getting better, learning the craft, getting better.
Mhm.
And yeah, and here we are.
Wow, wow. So, what was the most difficult in making that decision?
I
Other
think,
than other than moms going, you know
yeah,
what, my son is no longer in law school. Other than that, what was the most difficult decision?
I think the most difficult thing was the emotional adjustment that I had to go through, because when you become a lawyer, you tap in, your identity becomes, I'm a lawyer. Hi, I'm Wes. I'm a lawyer. Hi, what do you do? I'm a lawyer. Oh, okay. What do you do? I'm a lawyer. And that becomes like part of your identity. And in reality, law school does that to you, because you have to transform into a, you have to change your mind from a layperson to like a legal mind, and that identity shift happens. So when you stop being a lawyer, you're kind of like losing part of your identity, and you can't, I mean, you can say you're a filmmaker, but deep down that confidence isn't there yet. You have the ability, but you're not there yet.
Right.
Because if people say, oh, I'm a filmmaker, I'm like, well, what have you made? And you be like, nothing. Like, then they're like, well, then are you really a filmmaker? So it's
Right.
just like that, that, um, I call it the desert time, when, you're seeking identity, you're trying to find yourself, you don't have a lot of confidence in where you're going, because you're still learning so much. And so it's just kind of like you strip everything away and almost like emotionally start over. So to me, that was probably the hardest thing. There are financial adjustments, but that's just making tweaks in your budget. And I've never had an extravagant lifestyle, so that wasn't a big switch. It was really that emotional change.
Got you. Got you. So, I know now, okay, so a few of those movies you named
Hmm.
had like superstars in them.
Hmm.
How are you able to get those particular stars in different movies? I mean, are you like in a pool of movie stars, or I mean, is it difficult to get those people on to see your vision and to participate in a newcomer's movie? How does that work?
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, it's difficult for established, directors and producers and filmmakers, and it was really hard, when you're, coming up. And I would say, through a lot of prayer, a lot of blessing,
Mhm.
and agents and managers, trusting you a little bit and getting the material to the actors. And then, I did have to make sure that the scripts or the writing is to a certain level, for these actors, because they are used to doing, really good and great work. And if the script is solid that piques the interest, and then like get a chance to meet with them. And again, if the representatives like you or can see like the potential in you, it makes that road a little bit easier. But even then, it's still difficult because the actor may not.
Right.
So I'm so thankful for everybody that I've had a chance to work with, and still friends like pretty much with everybody that I've had a chance to like really work with. And it's I don't take it for granted, and very thankful for it.
Wow, wow. Yeah, just interviewed someone, I want to say a couple of months ago, that just finished a movie with Bruce Willis. And
Oh, okay.
so for you to be able to grab him, I know he's like a hot name right now
Yeah.
again, because he's so hot from the past.
Yeah.
How was it? How were you able to grab him?
So it was through a friend of mine, Alex Zander Kane, who was also in the film as Steve. Had worked with him on another film, and he was became friends with like his camp, Bruce Willis's camp. And he
Mm-hmm.
just mentioned me to them and was like, hey, I have this guy, the movie that we're doing, and I think might a good role might be in there for Bruce, if you guys are down for meeting him. This is the short version, because this is all
Right.
hard, like this is like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then eventually I got to meet with people on the team, his handlers, so to speak, his gatekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that happened, they met with me, they were comfortable with me. um, then it was kind of just like getting all the t's crossed and i's dotted, but it was a little process. And honestly, um, you know we were talking about that African American issue. I think I'm only the second African American director that he's worked with, Antoine Fuqua being the first. And that's nothing to do with Bruce or his desire to work. It's just it's
It's
just
just you're not out there. It's
yeah,
not many of you there.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
that many. So so that I was really happy about it, of course. And then so you like sitting there like Bruce Willis, I was like, yeah, that's the
On my
legend.
set. Oh
Yeah,
freaking God.
yeah, yeah. And so you have to like not fanboy out at all, because you're there to lead the troop,
Right.
so to speak.
Exactly.
But yeah, you can a couple of moments you get quiet, you just look around and be like, wow, okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get so excited, especially when, this is like a dream for me to see what we've accomplished, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to see you, it was like when I found out it was you that was the director, I was like, oh my gosh, I know that guy. And so to meet you, to actually finally meet you, is just really cool. And
Oh,
so,
awesome.
like I said, you one of my heroes. I normally do the sheroes, but you are one of the heroes
All
in
right. Well,
film.
I'm proud to be part of the Shiro Hero Club.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
really are. So let's start with the movie. So how did you come up with the script? How did this start?
Yeah. So the script was sent to me by a friend, Gianni Capaldi, who plays Tim in the film. And I was just kind of at a point where I was making a career decision. What do I want to do next? And then I really had to ask myself, what kind of filmmaker do you want to be? Like, what are my goals? That I was really having those conversations. And I was looking for something actiony, because I
Mhm,
really want to establish my value in the foreign market. And action films do well in the foreign market. I wanted them to know that if a Wes Miller film comes and it's an action film, it will be well executed.
mhm,
And then I wanted to also challenge myself a little bit. And so when this action film came out, I was like, okay, this is it. And then when I met, and so that's how it is. I won't jump too far ahead, but so I got the script, and then the challenge was how much of myself can I infuse in the screenplay. And that's when I went in and did like a little rewrite and bringing in like Tyrone Pettis, Leon's character,
mhm,
and some of the twists that happen, and some of the issues that are addressed, between the relationship between the guys and the lady. And yeah, so once that happened, I got it over to Frank Grillo, because we worked together on the Western, and he
mhm.
was like, I'm in. And so, yeah, that's how it got started.
Wow. So you got a good collective of team members there, and I feel like they all gelled really well in the movie, and so that was pretty cool. I mean that um that bond. You can
Hmm.
feel it. You can feel that bond. And so I'm very excited about that. And the movie, like you said, it's action packed. It started off, really, really good, very well executed. So I believe, Wes, you did a
Oh,
phenomenal
thank you.
job with the movie. And
Thank
so
you.
um, you know I can't wait. I know it came out what, the third, the fourth,
Yeah, March 4th.
March 4th.
It was in theaters, but it's definitely now on like all the video on demand platforms right
Okay.
now. So like iTunes, Apple TV, Amazon, Vudu, your cable VODs, pay-per-views. So yeah, it's out.
Okay. Well, I would like to show the audience the trailer, if you don't
Okay.
mind.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
We'll do that, and then I always mess up at this part, and I know my DJ T Nice is on, but we'll try.
Okay.
Okay.
Can't believe we're having a baby. You're gonna be the best mom ever. Gotta wear a seatbelt.
Jackson Police Chief is taking questions now.
On my watch, I will always protect the city, and it's all for you.
It's Tyrone. They got Candace.
I need that dead you owe me.
What did you do to my wife? What do you want, Connor?
Hey, brother.
I need your help. I need $2 million by midnight.
There's only one team I know that can pull this off.
Cap, where is she?
We're all watching you, Chief. We're all watching you.
Show's over.
Everything we've done till now has been under the cover of the flag. But this is outside the law.
So what's the plan?
We need guns.
Smash and grab.
I like the hillbilly. He was cool.
Business as usual.
Yeah.
This can get ugly.
You have no idea who you robbed.
You left a loose end.
I don't leave loose ends. I'm gonna get my money.
I want to see her right now.
You sure?
If you walk away, she dies. So what are we gonna do?
We got the element of surprise, and we got violence. You ready?
Knowing what battles to fight, that's critical.
Here comes cavalry.
Stay the course. You're not gonna say anything.
I know everything that goes on in these streets. I was trained for war. I fight to win.
Nice,
Mm.
nice.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So weird watching it now, but yeah.
I know, right? I can only imagine how you feel seeing your work. And
Hmm.
so, hold on, let me see. What did I do here? I told you I always mess up when it comes to getting back here. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that was so cool. And then, okay, so when you finally saw your movie, what did you think about it?
It's a good question because you got to remember that we watch it a lot because of editing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I first saw it put together, I felt like okay, I achieved the goals that I had, which were, you know, can we make a film that films big, even though we don't have a huge budget? Can we make sure the characters come to life, that we actually care about them, that there's something at stake? And yeah, it just felt good. And then I'll tell you what, when it really felt good was I watched it with an audience 2 times, and just watching with the audience and hearing where they react, their oohs, their ahs, and who they cared for, and just seeing their response during the film, that was amazing. And then that was our first one in Jackson, Mississippi. Then we did one in New York, and the crowd reaction was pretty much the same.
Wow.
They reacted in the same places, and so it's like, okay, all right, we're all right. Like, this is a good, cool action film. And it's the thing, it's an entertaining film. Look, they're not trying to win Oscars or anything with this. This is entertainment. Like, I want you to enjoy it, but
Right.
also come away thinking a little bit about a couple of things. Yeah. So, and I feel like we totally accomplished that.
You absolutely did. So, Wes, what's next for you?
Right now we are working on a film called 3 Mile In, starring Kelly Rowland. It's another action film. Um, Really quirky, stylized, but like a lot of shoot 'em up, blow 'em up stuff. My production designer, she said, Wes, I'm just gonna start telling people you like to blow SHIT up. I'm like, I mean, like, yeah, I do.
Blow up sales.
Yep, blow it up. Like, yes, we're gonna blow it up. So it should be a really cool one. So I'm excited to work with her, and let the world, like, you're gonna see her in a way you've never seen her before, and she's just gonna absolutely slay. So that's what's next.
Right. So you're gonna really have stars like falling at your feet pretty soon. It's kind of, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now it's kind of like, honestly, with this movie here, it kind of reminds you of Die Hard. It's like nonstop action. And so if they haven't recognized or noticed you in the past, most
Mhm.
definitely they're going to notice you in this one. You have Leon. I mean, come on, Shy Brother. I mean, every time I look at him,
Man,
I'm thinking,
that
I'm
that
thinking
that
of their
that
shows.
guy, yeah,
And
that guy there. It's so many wonderful things I could say about him. I was actually like nervous when I first met him because he plays bad guys so well, and I grew up watching him. I was like, man, he's gonna be difficult. Like, he's gonna, like, really, be mean. Man, he was the sweetest guy, and
oh
like,
wow,
and
that's
so
good
we
to
had a
hear.
Zoom call. It went really well. I felt really good. He was really in tune with the character and what we were trying to do. And then when he got to set, it was just like match made in heaven. Like, he really brought the complexity that character needed in order to sing and to really feel full. So
Nice.
um I was really happy about that. But the reality is, to make films these days, no matter small or large, it's all driven off cast. um and so, yeah, I look forward to being able to work with, like, all the best talent. It's amazing, like, the experience of, like, putting, working through a scene on a rehearsal, and just watching them bring the words to life, and blocking and movements, and trimming
Mhm.
words, and playing it with their face and movement. um it's honestly one of the funnest parts of directing to me.
Did you have a lot of ad-libbing going on?
Not necessarily ad-libbing, but what we would do is at, let's say, at the start of the day or the start of the scene work, um, clear the set, just me and the actors. We read through the material, work through it. I check with them how they feel about it. Let them know, here are my ideas for blocking, but, like, how do you feel about this space? Do you feel good, with this blocking? And if there are things like in the script that's like, it's not really working. Why isn't it working? Then we try to
Mhm.
figure it out. That's kind of like my protected space. Like, I don't want to, I don't care. Things could be falling apart out there, but don't bring it in here. And then once we finish that, like, so if there's any ad libbing, it would happen in that time where we're, like, really tweaking and working. And my
Mhm.
script supervisor would be there making, any notes on the script. And then we bring in the cameras and shoot. And by then we're all kind of dialed in and we're finding the rhythm. And if we're not finding the rhythm, we at least have an idea of, all right, here's the issue, and that, like, let's try to tweak it right here. Let's try a new transition, or let's just pull back a little bit and see what happens. So um so so a little bit of ad libbing and prep and preparing the scene.
Mhm.
But once we get past that rehearsal period, we're just kind of dialed into what we locked into, unless we see something different.
So did COVID stop you in any kind of way?
Oh yeah, we
Restrictions?
well, what happened was, is like, we were set to go, like, early 2020, like March or April of 2020 is when we were going to shoot. But we got shut down on so March, like the first part of March, or like when March 9th or 10th, whenever, like, the world was starting to shut down,
Mhm.
it was like, gotta put a break on it. And then so we started picking it back up like October, November, of 2020, but then, still working through the COVID issues. And then we were finally able to start going in April of 2021.
Nice.
Yeah.
So a whole year,
Yeah.
pretty much.
That took us out, but like
Yeah.
the whole world. I mean, we just lost a year basically. So, yeah.
So, but you're glad to have this under your belt now,
Mhm.
and the reactions is pretty cool. So,
Yep.
well, I'm so proud of you again. I can't express how proud I am of you, Wes. So you
Oh,
keep
thank you.
going. And like I said, if you need anything on this end, you come to not New Orleans. Where I'm at? I'm in Virginia. You come to Virginia, look me up. I'm here, and most definitely gonna look you up when I come your way.
Okay, please do. And thank you for having me on.
Yeah, most definitely. So, do you have any words of wisdom to give to a fellow director?
I guess the 2 words of wisdom would be focus on the story, make sure the story is strong as it can be, and be prepared when it's your turn up. You can't show up to set without being prepared. And the other part is never quit. This is a tough industry, and you're going to have hard days, a lot of hard days in a row. But just never quit. Keep believing.
Awesome. Well, Wes, tell people again how to look at the movie.
So yeah, they can watch it anywhere on demand, Apple TV, iTunes, Vudu, your cable, pay-per-view, anywhere there. And then, if you want to follow me, I'm at Instagram. It's my really only social media. I am Wes Miller. And, kind of follow along and watch this journey, and hopefully don't make the mistakes I make.
Well, thank you again for being on the show, and I will follow you. You follow me,
Will
and
do.
we'll make it happen. So, thank you, Wes.
Okay. All right.
I
Thank you for
appreciate
having
you
me.
again, and hey, we're there for
Okay.
you.
All right. Thank you so
All
much.
right,
All
thank
righty.
you.
Okay.
Okay, guys, until next week, we're gonna talk to another one of Wes's people from the movie, and we're gonna make it happen right here on SKST Radio.
You're watching SKST Radio.